We begin with breaking news out of Etobicoke. A woman is dead after being hit by a truck while crossing the street at a busy intersection. Good afternoon. The woman was hit just after 9 this morning at Islington and Dixon.
Investigators say the woman was in the crosswalk when she was struck by a box truck making a right-hand turn. CTV's John Musselman is live at the scene this hour with the latest on the investigation. John.
Well, Michelle, as you know, this is a very busy intersection. We're talking about Islington and Dixon Road. I'll just show you the scene here. The fire department and police are still on the scene. The accident reconstruction team is also here trying to piece together exactly how this went down. At about 9:02 this morning, we're told by police. We do know that the woman was crossing southbound when she was hit by this truck, apparently making a right-hand turn. Now, again, this is a very busy intersection. Police tell us there was likely a lot of witnesses here who saw what happened, so they're appealing to them for any information, and they're also checking for any surveillance video in the area to try to determine how it happened. Here's what police told us just a short time ago.
Preliminary information indicated that a box truck was traveling southbound on Islington Avenue, making a right turn westbound on Dixon Road when it struck a female pedestrian who was crossing at the crosswalk. Officers attended the scene and rendered medical assistance. Sadly, the female was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Now, we have no information yet on this victim, the age or where she may live. Police tell us that the driver of the truck is 26 years old and he is cooperating with police. We can also let you know that the intersection will likely be reopening within the next 20 minutes. Reporting live from the scene, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. A pedestrian's been seriously injured after being hit by a taxi early this morning. It happened on Queen Street West near Tecumseth just before 1:30. Police say the male victim was rushed to a trauma center with serious injuries, but he's expected to survive. The driver of the taxi remained at the scene. Now, roads in the area were closed for several hours, but have since reopened. Witnesses are asked to contact police.
And take a look at this. A vehicle slid down a boat ramp near Ashbridges Bay last night, submerging into the icy waters of Lake Ontario. Officers say everyone was able to escape the sinking vehicle, and the male driver was taken to hospital with minor injuries. And still to come this noon hour, the latest on the outrage in Minneapolis after an immigration and customs enforcement officer shot and killed a woman.
All eyes are on City Hall today as councillors debate the 2026 budget.
The proposed spending plan released today includes a 2.2% property tax increase, just a fraction of the hike the city saw in the previous 2 years, as an October election is ahead this year. Our Natalie Johnson joins us now from City Hall to break down all these numbers. Natalie.
Hi, Michelle. That's right. After 2 years of hefty tax hikes by this administration, the mayor is floating an unexpectedly low tax increase for 2026, 2.2%. So basically in line with inflation and appealing to affordability in this election year ahead. That 2.2% proposed tax increase would cost the average household about $91 more a year. The average tax bill would be about $4,200. Some of the shiny objects being offered up in this budget include expanded library access, libraries open on Sundays, expanded student nutrition programs, a TTC fare freeze for the 3rd year in a row, and fare capping on the TTC beginning in September. As for how the tax increase here is so low when there is some new spending here, well, those details are being unveiled right now in the budget committee happening behind us at this hour. But the administration is touting $57 million worth of efficiencies found in streamlined service delivery and technology, things like reduced fuel consumption from an increased EV fleet and a proposed hiring slowdown for non-frontline positions. Also, what they're calling temporary bridging, i.e. a reserve draw in the amount of $323 million. Here's more from the mayor this morning.
Getting here wasn't easy. When I took office, I inherited a $1.8 billion budget hole. We tackled the hardest problem first, which is Toronto's finances. Because when the city's unstable, people feel unstable. When budgets fall apart, services fall apart. When City Hall can't pay its bills, people suffer. Services that people relied on get cut, like TTC service.
Getting here required real discipline, no doubt. Last summer, we set some of the toughest budget targets for city divisions across the board, and the toughest they've seen in years. Staff went back again and again to find those efficiencies, reduce costs, protect frontline services while doing it. And the result is a budget that improves services. It strengthens confidence in the city's finances, and it has earned Toronto an international recognition.
This is an election budget that she is bringing forward in an attempt to improve her prospects in the fall with re-election, but Torontonians are going to be on the hook paying for that.
And of course, there is some reliance on those rainy day reserves in this budget. We're looking to see what the other offsets might be. The city manager and chief financial officer are presenting the line-by-line breakdown of the budget right now as we speak. We will bring you that full breakdown tonight at 5 and 6 o'clock. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm Natalie Johnson. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Natalie. And Mississauga City Council is holding a budget debate today. Under the proposed plan, property taxes will increase by an average of 5.2% overall. 1.6% is the city's portion, while Peel Region is increasing taxes by 3.6%. Officials say that they cut department spending and deferred some expenses to keep the increase relatively low. Mississauga's budget includes spending on transit with the addition of 78 new buses, new fire stations, road rehabilitation projects, and expanded winter maintenance. There's also money to renovate the South Common Community Centre and Library, and for programs like free fitness memberships for seniors. All right, we got more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. Here's a live look at the city this afternoon. Hard to believe it's been a while, but we're getting some sunshine out there. It's also very mild and well above seasonal, comfortable conditions for anything outside, especially for this time of year. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions, and you were telling us sunshine would be arriving today.
Hey, Nathan, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is, in fact, sunshine in many different parts of southern Ontario at this hour. For some, it's been days. For other, it feels like it's been a couple of weeks since we've enjoyed a sunny sky. And guess what? We've got mild temperatures to go along with it. It is 7 degrees right now in Niagara Falls. 5, look at that. 8 now in Niagara Falls, 6 in Hamilton, and 5 at Pearson Airport. That's our forecast daytime highs, so we've already made it. Southerly winds, we can thank those partly for the warm-up. And there we see the cloud cover continuing to clear. Still a bit cloudy in the east end around Peterborough and Kingston, for example, but beautiful sunshine now starting to shine across southwestern Ontario. We will take it. Nice day to spend some time outside. Overnight tonight, we've got some rain moving in, and it's going to be warmer tomorrow, but quite unsettled. We'll take you through that forecast, which also includes the weekend coming up. For now, though, Michelle, going to send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Well, to developing news this hour, the Supreme Court of Canada says it will hear an appeal from a group trying to block the Ontario Place redevelopment project. That redevelopment plan includes plans for a controversial spa, which would be owned by a private company. The coalition group Ontario Place Protectors challenged the Ford government's Rebuilding Ontario Place Act. It says the act breaches public trust by violating environmental and heritage laws, as well as municipal noise regulations. No word yet on when the case may be heard. Police are asking for the public's help identifying a suspect wanted in a double stabbing near Dufferin Station during the rush hour commute yesterday afternoon. Investigators releasing images of the suspect in the stabbings believed to be random and unprovoked. CTV's Mike Walker is live with more details. Mike.
Nathan and Michelle, this happened during the afternoon rush hour. Many people who live, work, and use transit in this area tell me they are on edge and being extra cautious about their surroundings following these double stabbing incidents, as you mentioned, that were unprovoked. Now, police have released images of the suspect. I want to show you them right now. They are still searching for him and have identified him as 18-year-old Noah Christopher Chapman of Toronto. Investigators allege he approached a victim from behind and stabbed them in the underground mezzanine level at Dufferin subway station around 4:30 Wednesday afternoon. Police say moments after that incident, the same suspect attacked another person in the area of Bloor West and Pauline Avenue. The suspect and both victims were not known to each other, according to police. Here's more from people who live and work in the area.
I feel like it's not, people feel very afraid, very frightened. Like if, for example, like if I have to wait for the bus, I have to watch around for my safety.
Canada is not like same before. Now it's no safety. I have a cameras and 2 people is here for working. That's why I'm very careful.
Police say both victims were treated in hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. They say the suspect is wanted on aggravated assault and weapons charges and are appealing to anyone with information about his whereabouts to come forward. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. A warning, our next story may be disturbing to some viewers. A Brampton man is coming forward with details of an apparent extortion attempt.
They said, we did that yesterday, and it was on you. It was for you. We need that. We need money. You have 1 day.
The homeowner shared this video with CTV News showing a man firing 8 shots at his house last weekend. The family was inside at the time, but no one was hurt. The man says he was texted the footage of the shooting along with a demand for $500,000. He has no idea why he was targeted, but he says he's moved his family out of Brampton as a precaution. Peel police are investigating.
The city of Minneapolis is on edge this morning after the fatal shooting of a 37-year-old mother of 3 by an immigration and customs enforcement agent.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Hundreds of people gathered last night at the site of the shooting that claimed the life of Renee Nicole Macklin Good. The shooting has inflamed anger over the Trump administration's controversial immigration crackdown. The Department of Homeland Security has deployed more than 2,000 officers to the area as part of its largest ever immigration enforcement operation. And for more, let's bring in CTV's Scott Hurst live in the national newsroom. Scott, there's been a lot of reaction to this from state and local officials. What's the latest?
Nathan, a whole lot of reaction, but also the latest flashpoint happening this morning as protesters clashed with federal agents outside of a federal building just outside of Minneapolis as outrage is mounting in the wake of this shooting amid growing anger and frustration directed at these immigration sweeps ordered by the Trump administration. In this video that you're seeing right now, this happened earlier this morning. We saw officers detain some people. Also, at one point, it appeared a chemical agent was used, likely some form of tear gas, as protesters gathered once again to voice their anger and frustration at this latest shooting that killed a 37-year-old woman and, in general, over the immigration raids that we've seen throughout many parts of the city. Now, we should put out a warning that some of the video, and including some of the video you're seeing right here, to some of our viewers might find it quite dramatic and upsetting, as there were several angles that captured part of the interaction and the shooting, but what took place before the shooting does remain unclear at this point. It has sparked anger over the ongoing ICE raids throughout the United States by the Trump administration, and the mayor of Minneapolis not holding back his message to immigration officials in Minneapolis.
They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people.
The woman killed has been identified as 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good. She is a U.S. citizen. She is also a mother of 3. And to adding to the tension into the city and to help put this into context for our viewers, Nathan, this shooting happening in the same city and several blocks away from where George Floyd was killed by police in 2020.
And Scott, what about the Trump administration? What's their reaction to all this?
Yeah, Trump administration officials are defending the ICE operations and also defending the actions of the immigration officials, and the immigration officer is saying the officer was justified, and that Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem went as far to call this as an act of domestic terrorism, saying that the woman in the vehicle attempted to weaponize her vehicle to attack the officers, and that the officer, according to Noem, acted quickly and defensively. The U.S. president also chiming in on social media to defend the ICE operation in the city and the actions of the officers involved. Now, the Department of Homeland Security has deployed more than 2,000 officers to the area in what it says is the largest immigration enforcement operation yet. State and local officials are demanding these immigration agents, the ICE agents, leave the city, leave the state. But Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is saying agents are not going anywhere. The FBI is taking over the investigation, Nathan.
All right, CTV's Scott Hurst in the National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
We take you to Washington, D.C. now, where the U.S. Senate is expected to vote on a resolution today limiting President Donald Trump's ability to carry out further attacks against Venezuela without the green light from Congress. Previous similar votes have failed to pass in the Republican-controlled Senate. Democrats and some Republicans have accused the Trump administration of breaking the law with the Venezuela strikes, especially since they happened before congressional notification or approval. Democrats said they may advance similar resolutions for other regions, including Greenland, after the White House renewed threats to take over the Arctic island. One Greenlandic MP tells CTV the heightened rhetoric is causing a lot of concern among residents.
Our premier here in Greenland and all the parties are telling people to calm down. There's no reason to panic. We've seen from many Republicans even, and you know, Trump doesn't have, and the Trump administration doesn't have the backing to actually having to go through with any scenario that has to do with military invasion in Greenland. There would be absolutely no need for that.
Greenland is considered an autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark. Danish officials today welcomed plans for a meeting with U.S. officials now scheduled for next week.
Utah police are investigating a mass shooting outside a Mormon church in Salt Lake City last night.
This is a funeral viewing, and then now it's probably going to be couple more funerals.
At least 2 people were killed and 6 others injured when shots rang out in the parking lot of the Mormon place of worship. All of the victims were adults. Police say they don't believe the shooting was targeting a religion, but they also don't believe it was random either. They say so far no suspects are in custody.
Back here at home, Prime Minister Mark Carney is planning to host Canada's premiers in Ottawa later this month as trade tensions with the U.S. remain in the spotlight. Senior government sources tell CTV News the first ministers' meeting will take place January 29th. That'll be just over a month after the last meeting, which was held virtually for the most part, although Premier Ford took part in Ottawa with Carney. The discussions come as Canada, the U.S. and Mexico gear up for the review of the North American Free Trade Deal later this year. Tomorrow officially marks the end of an era for one of the star MPs of the Trudeau Liberal government. Former Deputy Prime Minister and Toronto MP Chrystia Freeland will officially be stepping down as a member of Parliament. CTV's Jeremy Charron joins us now live from Ottawa with the latest on this. And Jeremy, we knew Freeland was going to be leaving as an MP in the coming weeks, but what prompted bumping up that date to this Friday?
Yeah, Michelle, the timeline is what everyone is talking about for sure. On Monday, when it was announced that Chrystia Freeland would be taking on a new role as economic advisor for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, at that point it was announced that she would be resigning her role as MP in the coming weeks. She faced some criticism. Some questions were raised by opposition MPs, by ethics critics about whether or not it was okay for her to take on this new role, advising the leader of a different country while remaining as an MP here in the Canadian Parliament. And as a result, what has transpired is since then, we now know through an announcement from Chrystia Freeland yesterday that she sought advice from the Federal Ethics Commissioner, whose advice it was was to instead resign, offer her resignation sooner than later. And so we know that she has already advised the Speaker of the House. There's a whole protocol and procedure that has to take place for an MP to resign, but she has made the Speaker of the House aware that she'll be resigning, and it will all be made official as of tomorrow. So pressure and questions raised about the timeline and being able to stay on as an MP here while advising the leader of another country ultimately appears to be what prompted in the bumping up of the date of her resignation, and she'll be resigning officially tomorrow.
And when the seat becomes vacant tomorrow, we know the Prime Minister will have to call a by-election in a riding that has been a Liberal stronghold. Do you have any sense of the timeline yet? And what is at stake politically?
Yeah, Michelle, look, in terms of a timeline, it'll be kind of at the Prime Minister's discretion. Once she offers her resignation officially tomorrow, the Prime Minister will have some time to make the decision, and he doesn't have to immediately call for a by-election. I believe there's a 6-month window where he can wait as to whether or not to call or when to call that by-election. So could be still some time in terms of a date. It also may not be the only by-election. We know that at some point here, Conservative MP Matt Genereux, Edmonton area MP, will be resigning too. Again, we don't know a date there or when that by-election could happen. In terms of what's at stake politically, there's a lot at stake. We're looking at a situation in Parliament where numbers matter a lot. This is a one-seat minority. There's been a lot of talk about potential floor crossers and whether or not this Liberal government will be able to achieve a majority. But that makes these by-elections all more important as well, because every single seat matters. And so we could be looking potentially in the near future at some important by-elections. And when you look at University Rosedale, the riding, Toronto area riding, of course, that Chrystia Freeland has held, it is a Liberal stronghold. It is a seat that, or a riding that has existed since 2013, first contested in 2015. It's only ever been held by Chrystia Freeland and the Liberals. And so that is certainly a seat the Liberals will be looking to hold on to, but then potentially another by-election for a Conservative seat. So there will be a lot at play and some important by-elections this year for sure. Nathan, back to you.
All right, thank you. Russian drone strikes have left more than 600,000 households without electricity in Ukraine. Moscow has repeatedly targeted Ukraine's power grid since its full-scale invasion. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said today a deal for the U.S. to provide post-war security guarantees is ready to be finalized. That agreement would only take effect after a peace deal is reached. And here in Canada, victims' families are gathering to mark the 6-year anniversary of the downing of a Ukraine International Airlines flight over Iran. The Association of Families of Flight PS 752 victims is hosting a ceremony in Richmond Hill this afternoon. Events are planned in Windsor and Vancouver. The plane was shot down by 2 Iranian missiles minutes after taking off from Tehran on January 8, 2020. All 176 people on board, including 55 Canadian citizens and 30 permanent residents, were killed. Canada has vowed to hold the Iranian regime accountable for violations of international law.
Well, what we are experiencing right now is traditionally known as a January thaw. It's common, even though the temperatures we're about to experience may not feel all that normal for the month of January. So this is happening today and tomorrow. Then we're going to cool down a little bit for the weekend. Temperatures normalize a little bit for next week. If anything, we are expecting to be mild once again. Not 1, but 2 rounds of active weather on the way. The first is going to be rain. The second could be snow or some mixed precip, and this is going to arrive during the daytime hours Saturday, impacting us into the night. We'll take you through that weekend forecast and beyond after the break here on CTV News at noon. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, look at that sky. The sun is shining. The clouds have parted. We're finally getting a little taste of sunshine, and it feels so good.
Yeah, when I saw that shot, I did a double take. I thought, that can't be right, but it is right. We're finally getting some sunshine.
This was kind of the best case scenario for today. We knew there was a possibility we would enjoy at least some sun, but this coupled with some warm temperatures, I think many are eagerly ready to get outside and enjoy an afternoon walk. Maybe part of your plans. I encourage you to enjoy that, because while tomorrow tomorrow will be warmer. Condition-wise, it's not going to be quite as enjoyable outdoors. We're looking at some periods of rain and some pretty gusty winds as well. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. Let's take one more peek outside the window. Nice day for skating as well. I see some skaters are out on the ice at Nathan Phillips Square. Today's one of those days where you don't need all the winter gear. You can enjoy a lighter winter jacket and maybe lose the hat if you are so inclined. Temperature-wise, yeah, we've already reached our forecast daytime high of 5 degrees here in the city. And because we're so early in the afternoon, we have several hours of daytime heating to go. Wouldn't be surprised to see that temperature climb another degree or two from here. It's 8 degrees right now in Windsor. Tomorrow's high in that part of the province is expected to be into the teens, and we've got a risk of thunderstorms in some areas too. But I'll get to that in just a moment. Yesterday, we made it to about 3 degrees, so already we've soared past that. And just a reminder that our seasonal average is -2 degrees, so we're well above that. Record to beat today is 15.5 degrees, so that's not likely. But again, this is quite enjoyable. Get outside and enjoy today if you can. For some, it feels like it's been days and even weeks since we've had a sunny afternoon. So yes, I encourage it. Overnight tonight, temperature is going to hold pretty steady at about 5 degrees, and we do have some rain moving in. We'll show you that a little closer in just a moment. But here's tomorrow's expected daytime highs, maybe 14 degrees in Grand Bend. How about 12 degrees in Oakville? You'll find that it is a little bit cooler in some communities, like Minden, for example, at 6, but that is still more than 10 degrees warmer than normal. Here's the satellite and radar. We're continuing to see that cloud cover clear. So if you're in Durham region, over toward Clarington, Peterborough County, that clearing is expected for you as well. And then we've got a very moisture-laden system on the way. This one's going to bring us a bit of a soaking. It's not dramatically so, maybe 5 millimeters of rain in Toronto, but up to 15 millimeters of rain in other areas. It begins overnight tonight. Periods of rain or showers expected through Friday morning. There's the cold front swinging through for tomorrow afternoon, so that's going to cool us down. Winds will change from southwest winds to northwest winds, and they'll be quite strong. And then here's what's coming for Saturday, late afternoon and evening. The possibility of rain changing to snow, and then some flurries in the forecast for your Sunday. That's the weather for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Cars purchased brand new are becoming a luxury for many as prices hit record highs.
The industry had mostly recovered from pandemic supply chain issues, only to be hit hard by inflation, tariffs, and other factors. CTV's Pat Foran has this consumer alert.
If you're in the market for a new vehicle, get ready for sticker shock. According to Auto Trader, a new car in 2019 sold for about $40,000. In 2025, the average price jumped to more than $63,000. The median price of a used car 6 years ago was just under $19,000. Last year, the price almost doubled to more than $35,000.
This is the new norm. So if you have been thinking about, okay, it used to be $25,000, now they're mid-30s, I'm going to wait it out, I would not suggest that.
If you're buying new, watch out for dealership add-ons. You could be pitched extras you may not want or need.
Add-on products can add hundreds, even thousands of dollars to the price of the vehicle. So don't let a dealership pressure you into paying for them or tell you that they're mandatory. They're absolutely not.
Leasing can make sense for some drivers, but before you lease, there are trade-offs to consider.
Make sure you know what the mileage limits are, the fees that you could face at the end of that lease, and any sort of maintenance or repairs that you have to pay when you turn in the car at the end of the lease.
When it comes to financing, if you're buying new, you may be able to get incentives such as reduced interest rates through the manufacturer. If buying used, it can pay off to check with your bank or credit union.
Sometimes dealerships offer promotional financing, which can save you a lot of money. But at the very least, talking to the bank gives you a baseline that you can compare against what the dealer offers.
And when it comes to those really long 84 or 96-month loans, think twice. The monthly payment may seem lower, but interest can drive the overall cost much higher.
The rate you're paying off the vehicle is far too slow, and the vehicle is going to depreciate faster than the rate you're paying it off.
Whether you're buying new or used or leasing, don't feel rushed into signing a contract. There is no cooling off period when purchasing a car. Take the time to know what you're agreeing to save you stress down the road. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Premier Doug Ford just made an announcement regarding the Northlander Train and bringing back passenger rail service between Timmins and Toronto. But he's also taking questions from reporters here in the city this hour, due to be asked very likely about the latest developments from Ontario Place. Let's see what's being said at this hour.
They ignored the North. They didn't give two hoots about the North. We care about the people in the North. It's an economic driver. Things are moving forward rapidly, especially in the mining sector and the Ring of Fire, right across the North. And people can't be stranded. Right now, when they canceled that train, they left people desolate. Like, it's terrible. So now we're bringing great transportation, 26 stops, and it's going to bring people right down to City of Toronto. But over to you, Vic.
Premier, it's going to be hard not to be emotional in the answer to you. You know, sitting in the legislature, listening to the previous government describe Northern Ontario as a no man's land. Those are the exact words they used to describe what they felt was north of the French River. They never invested in the Northlander. They let it run down. They didn't have good times for departures. They never paid attention to it, and the Auditor General ran a complete study on the entire treatment of Ontario Northland by the previous Liberal government. You know, I didn't come here to be political about it, but I'll tell you, it was a horrible day to see that canceled, because it was only the first of what the government intended to do. They intended to starve Ontario Northland by not giving them contracts to repair the GO cars, which we have brought back today. Premier Ford has brought back today to Ontario Northland, which is a thriving business in my hometown of North Bay. They also intended to sell off all of the parts and divest Ontario Northland and have no Ontario Northland, period. Not just the Northlander. It was one of the few pieces. The Auditor General found that their math was all false, that they claimed they were going to save $250 million a year, when actually she proved it would cost them and the government $880 million a year to have done what their plan was. So there was a complete reversal. They reversed everything except bringing back the Northlander and bringing the GO-car contract back. So there was a lot of underlying reasons why they did that. And none of them were justified.
So I'm sorry, so aren't you concerned at all that none of these issues might happen again with this line, this time now reopening it?
I can tell you a lot of time and energy has been in putting a proper schedule that works for people in the North. The people that are going to use the train, this is the times are right. What appears to be the draft pricing, the prices look right, the schedule looks good, the cars are beautiful, they're modern. People are going to want to take it. You can now be able to take it from Union Station and go up to Muskoka on a weekend. I can tell you there's no university and college students in my era that didn't use the Northlander to go home. This is going to be an affordable opportunity for students to travel home on the weekends again right from Union Station, and be able to take medical appointments from Cochrane and come down to Toronto. There was a lot of thought put into what they've done.
Hey, good morning, Premier. Colin DeMello from, good afternoon, sorry. Colin DeMello from Global News. I wanted to ask about CUSMA talks. So the premiers, I hear, are supposed to be going to Ottawa to have an in-person meeting with the Prime Minister at the end of the month. Yes. I'm wondering, how confident do you feel in Canada's position going into those renegotiations, and will the country come out of it with the same agreement that we're going into it?
Well, I'm looking forward to sitting down with the rest of the premiers. We communicate frequently. I was talking just through text with Scott Moe last night, and another champion, Wab Canoe. We're always communicating, but we look forward to getting together. And we all agree, let's start moving faster, quicker, immediate. Let's start building that pipeline west. Let's start building it east and north. Let's start getting critical minerals out of the ground and making sure they're refined right here. I met with the CEO of Cameco from Saskatchewan yesterday. yesterday. Let's look at not only refining, but enriching here to create more jobs. And let's look at our great, our power grid. We're leading the world with small modular reactors and with electricity itself. I know Minister Lecce made a great announcement. We're leaders in the world. We're building 16,000 megawatts. That's equal to 16 million homes. To put that in comparison with the U.S., they have 1,000 megawatts in New York. They were as happy as anything for about 1 million homes. When I told the governor we're building 16,000, I thought she was going to fall off her chair. But we're gonna be the leaders, which we are right now, around the world. And then when I talked to the CEO yesterday, he said, you know, everywhere we go around the world, everyone talks about Ontario and the energy and the SMRs and the nuclear capacity that you have. You're leading the world. I want to thank OPG. Hey, buddy. Yeah, sorry, he was giving me a shout out up there. So, anyways. So that's what we're doing.
So
we're focused.
On the CUSMA talks and your confidence in those negotiations and Canada's position going into those talks.
Well, you know something, Colin? He's a rare bird, President Trump. To say.
You're listening to Premier Doug Ford answering questions on CUSMA. He's actually making an announcement on bringing back the Northlander Train, its passenger rail service from Toronto to Timmins. And based on the government release, that's expected to be in service sometime in 2026. We'll leave it here and continue to monitor if any developments come out of this news conference. In other news, the U.S. Department of Justice says a former TD Bank Group employee has pleaded guilty to facilitating money laundering at the bank. Investigators say he used his position to help a network that laundered hundreds of millions of dollars between 2019 and 2021. The employee pleaded guilty for his role in helping launder money, which saw him paid more than $11,000 in retail gift cards. Last October, TD pleaded guilty to multiple charges related to failures in its anti-money laundering program and agreed to pay fines of more than $3 billion.
Coming up, a mother's quest to raise awareness about a rare genetic disorder that is often undiagnosed and can be life-threatening. Her incredible journey just ahead. A GTA family is sharing their grief in an effort to raise awareness of a silent killer.
An undetected genetic condition claimed the life of a pregnant 28-year-old and her unborn child. And now her family wants people to be aware of the symptoms. CTV's Sean Leathong has their story.
Just so funny.
Carrie Ann Hall can only look at pictures of her daughter Katie and think about a life that could have been much different if someone had been able to put the pieces together.
It's the first thing I think of when I wake up, and it's the last thing I think of when I go to bed. And if there's any parents out there who've lost a child, they'll know exactly how I feel.
Her 28-year-old daughter, Katie Pryla, was 8 months pregnant with her first child in the fall of 2023, something that had been a life goal.
She just loved children. At any kind of parties or anything, Katie would always be with the little kids.
Having been married for a couple of years, the pregnancy seemed to be going smoothly, but in an instant, it was all gone. Katie suddenly died, the unborn child dying with her. They would later learn that Katie had undiagnosed Marfan syndrome and had suffered an aortic dissection while at home in October 2023.
She was the glue in our family.
Marfan syndrome is a genetic connective tissue disorder which can present in a number of ways.
She had a lot of the markers from Marfan.
Growing up, Hall says her daughter had a long medical history, diagnosed with scoliosis as a young girl requiring surgery, issues with vision and her bones. Katie was a patient at Sick Kids for a decade, but nobody put it all together.
It's the stars in the sky. You just see stars in the sky. They didn't see the constellation.
Now, Carrie Ann is trying to raise awareness with the help of a local politician.
No one recognized the larger pattern that could have pointed to Marfan sooner.
Burlington MP Karina Gold rising in the House to share this story and creating a petition through the House of Commons.
I don't want another mother, grandmother, family to go through that again.
The goal is to change the protocol for Marfan testing with national screening guidelines, education programs for physicians, requiring genetic screening protocols for IVF patients, and public education initiatives, and hope that in the future, someone like Katie and her child will not be lost. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
For some people struggling with obesity and diabetes, new weight loss medications offer hope. But a new study reveals how quickly the weight may return. British researchers found that patients who stopped taking GLP-1 drugs put the weight back on 4 times faster than after diet and exercise. Researchers say this is mostly because so much weight is lost in the first place when compared to diet and exercise. The drugs have been found to help people lose between 15 to 20% of their body weight. Now, the study says people who stopped taking the drugs gained back about 22 pounds within a year.
Still to come, how a Canadian television show that is resonating with fans around the world is changing attitudes on and off the ice.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
A new romantic drama from Crave, which is owned by CTV News parent company Bell Media, is turning up the heat and shining a light on LGBTQ2S+ representation in hockey.
Heated Rivalry tells the story of 2 professional male hockey players who spark a secret, steamy romance. And as CTV's Alexandra Hollick reports, the show is breaking the ice in sport culture.
Is everything you dreamed of? Almost.
The fictional love story of 2 professional hockey players is making a real-life impact.
Come here. No, you come here. No, you come here. No, you come here.
Heated Rivalry is a Canadian TV series that explores the ins and outs of a queer relationship in the shadows of a hyper-masculine sport.
Hockey has been probably the most masculine portrayed sport in Canadian society for a really long time, and to have this kind of a romance story portrayed inside the context of men's professional hockey at the highest level, I think will have an impact.
Anne Peguerero is a sport management professor at the University of Guelph. She says the show shifts conversations about inclusivity in sport culture.
It's going to take a long time to trickle up to the professional level.
At You Can Play, we believe that sports are for everybody.
Programs like You Can Play are leading the charge with a goal of making sure everyone feels seen and safe in sports.
While the representation itself doesn't change hockey overnight, right, it does change who feels welcome to step on the ice tomorrow. And I think that that's really the biggest success of Heated Rivalry.
I think it's just brought a community together that's felt neglected.
Harrison Brown stars in the series. Before he retired from professional hockey, he came out as the first openly transgender player.
It was just a really validating process to be able to take place as just a man in society post my hockey career. But I think it really means a lot to LGBTQ+ fans who haven't always felt welcome by the NHL.
Now, the theme of representation in the show isn't limited to the gay love story off the ice. The scenes on the ice were filmed right here at the Sleeman Center in Guelph.
It's always great when you watch something on TV that resonates with you because it's in your local community. I think it makes it mean more.
Crave has greenlit the show for a second season, but a release date has yet to be announced. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News, Guelph.
And Heated Rivalry isn't just getting attention here in Canada, it's generating a massive fan base south of the border. One of the series' main stars, BC's Hudson Williams, was on NBC's The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon last night.
We didn't even know about hockey smut and romantic, like we didn't know that it existed.
That's so funny.
But I was reading the book like as the audition process went along, and it was way too long. You know, it took way too long for me just to get that call. So by the time I got the call, I was like, finally, and just kind of good.
You're like this. I am this character. Yeah, I better get this.
I've been staying in character this whole time.
Yes.
Yes, I have my hockey stick.
Yes.
Yeah. And my intimacy garment.
Williams co-star Connor Story announced the Actor Awards nominations in Los Angeles yesterday alongside Abbott Elementary star Janelle James. He revealed he'd still been waiting tables just months ago. He'll be on Seth Meyers' late night show next week.
Still to come, the marriage proposal that didn't go off without a hitch. Find out what happened when a Michigan man tried to propose to his girlfriend on a suspension bridge but didn't manage to hold on to the ring. A marriage proposal is supposed to be unforgettable, but not for this reason.
One groom-to-be popped the question on a suspension bridge in Michigan, but the ring slipped right through his fingers, falling 30 meters below.
I was in complete shock. I can't believe I did that. All that money, oh my God. I just ruined her proposal.
I just laughed because this was such a Trevor thing to do. I think I was just more or less like, oh crap, what do we do next?
Trevor Van Camp had been planning to propose to his now fiancée, Danielle Jenkins, for more than a year on a sky bridge at Michigan's Boyne Mountain Resort. When things didn't go according to plan, they searched for the ring for a few hours before going home empty-handed. However, a resort employee came to the rescue using a metal detector to track it down and return it to the couple, ending a proposal they'll surely never forget. Now, do you think he dropped it on purpose?
No, it looked cold out
fake?
there.
Okay.
He should have taken precautions. You tie it to a string, you put it around your
Better
neck.
idea. I'm glad they found it.
They found it. What a gorgeous ring. I'm so nice. But a ring doesn't make a marriage.
And
you know?
I love how she knew her husband to be. She said, this is very typical. This is what I would have expected from him. That's a good sign, I think. Let's talk one more time about this weather. It is gorgeous outside. It is sunny. It's mild. Enjoy if you can. Here's one more look at what we're expecting for the afternoon. Further clearing when it comes to the cloud. And then tonight, our temperature remains very mild, 5 for the low. Tomorrow, let's talk about this. Daytime high, 11 degrees in the city of Toronto. But we do have some wet weather on the way, not just for overnight tonight and tomorrow, but also into the weekend. And this time it could change over to some snow as well. Here's one more look at your 7-day forecast, including the weekend and beyond. Nathan and Michelle.
All right, thank you, Lindsay. And that's it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.